Hello guys, Craig from Fix It Fellows, and yes, once again I am in the garage, but only so long as to get tools so that I can go and work on the Fiat 500. Yes, that's my daughter's car, and you've seen it in previous videos. I've done work on the radio reception, you know, the aerial on the roof, done some work on the centre console. Well, today, because it's got an MOT due, I'm underneath checking out the exhaust. The clamps seem to be a bit corroded, possibly a slight leak. So we're going to get under there, have a look at the clamps, see what we can do. Right, here we are at the front of the car, underneath the engine. So we've got the catalytic converter up there, comes down via this downpipe, and it is a push fit fitting here with the section from the cat acting like the male section, pushes into like the female section here for the rest of the exhaust. So there's the flexi pipe there. I think on some other variants of this car, maybe on the diesel version, you'll have a flange connection here, but this is a insertion fitting here, and as you can see, this clamp is pretty corroded, and from what I can feel around the top, probably can't see it on the camera, but the clamp has completely corroded away around the other side, so it's no longer exerting any pressure around this section here. Hence someone in the past has put copious amounts of exhaust paste in there to try and seal it up, when in reality I think it's just the fact that the clamp isn't working anymore. So we're going to try and get this off. It's looking pretty corroded. I don't think it's even worth trying to get a go on those bolts. Probably a good hit with a hammer and a cold chisel will probably break this clamp off. Failing that, maybe just a quick little go across there with a hacksaw, and that will be coming off. And we'll give this pipe a measurement. It looks to be about 51, 52 mil, something like that. And we'll get ourselves a new clamp to go around there, and that should resolve that problem. Clean off all this excess exhaust sealant there, because that just draws attention to the area. We'll try and clean that off as best we can, and hopefully that will be good. The rest of it doesn't look too bad. I shall check out the clamp at the back. I think, if memory serves me, there is another clamp where the back box meets the middle section, so we'll check those clamps out too. Probably best just to get those replaced. You can go to Halfords and get a clamp for this for about £1.60. You know, they're really cheap. So let's see if we can get that off. Okay, well, the bolt's not turning, the nut's not turning on the bolt, but the whole bolt's turning, and I can see the very top part of the clamp is now definitely broken. Yeah, properly corroded. At least one half of it is. You can see that. Oh, there you go. Okay, so got a pair of mole grips on there, and as you can see, that is moving around. I can just bend that down and out of the way. So properly rotted. Okay, so that side still feels to be fairly intact. Yeah, so I'm just going to cut through that with a hacksaw. Okay, so we cut completely through that. You can see that that's now all loose. If we bend this down out of the way, like that, there we go. There's the clamp. So give this a proper clean up. You can see there appears to be where it's blowing out, so that split there is, this tube here is split, so that when the clamp closes it shuts up, and the clamp weren't doing its job properly. So let's get this cleaned up. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to use a scraper. Okay, so we've got all that nicely cleaned up now. You can see that split there. There's a corresponding one on the opposite side of the pipe. So that pipe, the female section is split, and when the clamp goes round there, it squeezes this split section shut, tight around the male section. So therefore the old clamp, which was corroded, was unable to exert the pressure in order to keep that clamp tight. So this is the new clamp. Got this from Halfords, cheap as cheap chips, they're £1.60. That goes around like so and goes on and bolts up. Now that should exert enough pressure to keep that nicely sealed, which I'll do, and look to see whether there's a feel for any leaks when the engine's running. If it still leaks, then we may have to separate the pipe and use some exhaust paste assembly to seal in around there, so that just to aid the seal, and then put that around there like that. Put that clamp on. It's been a bit fiddly, like that. Put one bolt on. Put the other bolt on. Okay, now in an ideal world, this clamping bar will go, if you can imagine the pipe, you know, you've got those two splits, you want to exert pressure that way to clamp them shut. So ideally we want it positioned a bit like so. So as this tightens up, this section of the clamp pushes down on this half, and then this bar here pushes on that half, as opposed to exerting the pressure directly onto the splits, which wouldn't really achieve much. And also with these clamps, it's always best to try and get them a bit angled so any water that gets in here runs out rather than sits in there. So that's about the right sort of angle. Also, you just got to be a little bit wary of where this clamp, any part of the clamp might touch any part of the car if the engine or exhaust was to move, so make sure there's enough clearance all the way around. And obviously you don't want it sticking too far down towards the ground to affect your ground clearance, but I don't think we're in any danger there, so I think that's about good. Let's start getting this done up. So you kind of do each nut bit by bit so that you're applying equal pressure across the clamp. And I'm just going to keep my finger across the split in the pipe, yeah, because you can actually just feel it starting to close as you do those bolts up. Yeah, it's just, you can just feel it pinching closer and closer. Only a little bit, but enough. That's definitely tighter. The tightest clamp this has had on it for a while. There you go. Done. Now I'm going to turn the engine on and have a feel for whether there's anything blowing. Okay, so now what I managed to do is I took the clamp back off and I managed to knock the joint apart by putting a screwdriver there and bashing the joint apart. I managed to get the lead edge of that half of the pipe back to about here. That enabled me just to put some sandpaper around the joint. Yeah, and then I used the jointing compound, smeared it around, pulled the joint back together, actually activated the jointing compound with this blowtorch, and as you can see now I'm running the engine and no condensate is coming out of here at all, which must mean that is now a airtight joint, so that joint is no longer leaking. So that's all good. And what I shall now do is go to the back box and have a look at the joint back there. Okay, so here we are at the back box, and this is the joint here. Now there's meant to be a clamp around there. Again, it's a split section there, one split on that side, one split on the other side, and a clamp's meant to go around that and squeeze those two pipes together. As you can see, it's corroded so much that the clamp is no longer there, and yeah, it's been blowing a little bit. So we're going to clean this up as best we can. We may need to try and separate it and put some jointing compound in there, we shall see. But on this is a 1.2 petrol Fiat 500, and on this particular setup you just have the back box. The middle pipe runs right the way through and right the way through to that clamp that we was already working on down there. So there's no middle joins, it's just one long middle pipe. So one joint at the front, flexi pipe all the way back to here. So let's get scraping, get that rubbish cleaned off, see what we can do to clean it up and get the new clamp on. Okay, so it's all nicely cleaned up around there now, and we're now going to take one of these clamps. This one's a 45mm. We actually used a 54mm at the front. It's a smaller bore pipe at the back here. So we put that round there like that. Okay, all done. So there we go guys, there's the exhaust all sorted out on our Fiat 500. Those clamps are really cheap. I've got two clamps from Halfords and it actually comes to less than £3, and then you've got your tube of exhaust paste should you need it. So a really simple fix. Hopefully, yeah, she'll get through the MOT, no problem at all. So as ever, thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and to give us the thumbs up, and check out some of my other videos. See you again very soon. Bye bye.